Mary Flanagan, 1959, London. Why did Mary vanish on New Year's Eve? Every disappearance leaves behind two stories. One is the story people know at first, the simple one. A girl leaves home, a family waits, a night passes, then another. The other story is the one that slowly appears afterward, the hidden details, the things nobody understood at the time, the small contradictions that turn an ordinary day into a mystery that lasts for decades. On New Year's Eve in 1959, 16-year-old Mary Flanagan left her family home in East London. Her family believed she was going to work and possibly to a New Year's Eve party connected to her workplace. At first, that explanation made sense. It was the last day of the year. London was preparing for midnight. Families were making plans. Young people were going out. Mary was expected to come home later, but she never did. And when her parents went looking for her, they learned something they were not expecting. Mary had not been at work, not that day. And according to several later reports, she may not have been there for around 2 weeks. That single discovery changed everything. Because Mary Flanagan had not simply vanished on New Year's Eve, she had been living part of her life outside the view of her family. And more than 60 decades later, no one has ever been able to prove where she went, who she met, or what happened after she walked away from Wallace Road. This is the mystery disappearance of Mary Flanagan. Mary Flanagan lived in West Ham, East London, with her family on Wallace Road. She was part of a London Irish Catholic family with roots that connected back to Ireland. Later reports say her father's side of the family had links to Pass, County Westmeath. Like many Irish families in post-war London, the Flanagans lived in a world where family ties, work, reputation, and faith shaped everyday life. Mary had 2 sisters, Eileen and Brenda, and a brother named Kevin. Her younger sister, Brenda, was only 8 when Mary disappeared. Decades later, Brenda would still be searching, still speaking about Mary, still hoping that her sister, somehow, was alive. Mary herself was remembered as bright, friendly, lively, and outgoing. She was around 5 feet 2 inches tall, with a medium build, hazel eyes, dark, wavy hair, and a tanned complexion. Some who remembered her said she looked older than 16. She attended Holbrook Road Secondary School. She worked at the Tate and Lyle's sugar refinery in Silvertown, a major industrial employer in East London. Some reports also connect her to Hames Optical Frame Shop in Stratford and to volunteer work with the Blind Association. From the outside, Mary's life had structure: home, family, work, a local community. But in the weeks before she vanished, something was happening that her family did not fully understand. One person connected to that hidden part of the story was a young man known to the family as Tom McGinty. Even his name is uncertain. Later reports say police could not clearly establish who he was. His surname may have been McGinty, McEntee, McGuinness, or something similar. He was described as Irish and possibly in his early 20s. Some accounts say he may have worked in the Merchant Navy as a stoker, shoveling coal into steam engine fires. But when investigators later looked for records, they reportedly could not confirm a Tom McGinty who matched with the family remembered. That does not mean Tom never existed. According to later statements from investigators and family members, Mary's father had introduced her to him. Her brother reportedly believed the relationship was genuine. Some called him her boyfriend, others suggested he may have been her fiancé. But the uncertainty around his identity has remained one of the most troubling parts of the case, because if Tom knew Mary well, he may have known where she was going, and if his identity was never firmly established, then a major part of Mary's final days may have disappeared with him. According to later family accounts, the night before Mary vanished was not calm. Mary had reportedly argued with Tom. The reason, as remembered by Brenda years later, was that Tom had lied about where he lived. He had allegedly told Mary that the woman he lived with was his landlady. Then he admitted she was actually his mother. To someone outside the situation, that might sound like a small lie, but to a teenage girl in a strict family environment in 1959, it may have raised bigger questions. Was Tom honest? Was he independent? Could he be trusted? According to those later accounts, Mary was crying and distressed. Some reports also say there was tension involving Mary's father. Her sister Eileen later suggested that Mary went to bed upset after a fight. By the morning of December 31, 1959, Mary had slept late. That detail stayed with her family. She was supposed to be going to work that day. She was also believed to be heading to a New Year's Eve event connected to Tate and Lyle. But even this part of the story has a question mark over it. Later reporting has noted that it remains unclear whether the party Mary mentioned ever actually existed. Around 1 in the afternoon, Mary left the family home. Before she went, she kissed her family goodbye. Brenda later remembered that this was not something Mary normally did. At the time, it did not seem like a warning. It was New Year's Eve. A kiss goodbye could mean almost nothing. A simple holiday gesture, a teenage girl leaving for work and a night out. But after Mary vanished, that moment became impossible to forget. A goodbye that felt ordinary only until no one ever saw her again. Mary walked away from Wallace Road. Some accounts place her last known sighting near West Ham Tube Station. That detail has been repeated in later summaries of the case, but like many parts of Mary's disappearance, the surviving record is limited. What can be said with confidence is that Mary left home in East London on New Year's Eve and did not return. At first, her family waited. Mary was 16. It was New Year's Eve. If she was going to a party, she might come home late. She might stay out past midnight. There was still a possible explanation. But then the night passed. New Year's Day arrived. Mary was still missing. That was when her parents went to the Tate and Lyle sugar refinery, looking for answers. They expected to learn whether Mary had arrived, whether she had gone to the party, or whether someone had seen her leave with another person. Instead, they were told Mary had not been at work. According to several later accounts, she had been absent for around 2 weeks. One source has reported a shorter period, so the exact length should be treated with caution. But the central fact remained disturbing. Her family believed Mary had been leaving the house for work. Her employer apparently believed she was off sick. So where had Mary been going? That question turned the case from a missing teenager report into something much more complicated. For days, possibly weeks, Mary may have been moving through a routine no one in her family knew about. She had been leaving home, but not arriving at the place where she was expected. That hidden gap is one of the strongest mysteries in the case. It means the answer may not begin on New Year's Eve. It may begin earlier, with someone Mary met, somewhere she went, something she feared, or something she was planning. In the early search, police and locals looked through the area. Officers interviewed family and friends. Posters were put up. The investigation relied on the methods of the time: door knocking, local appeals, witness memories, conversations in the community. There was no CCTV trail, no mobile phone location data, no bank card history, no text messages, no social media, no digital footprint showing where Mary had been in the days before she disappeared. And decades later, the investigation faced another problem. According to later reporting, the original case files were destroyed in a flood. When police reviewed the case again, they were working with damaged history, lost records, and memories separated from the event by half a century. This is one reason Mary's case remains so difficult, not just because she disappeared, but because so much of the original investigation disappeared too. Over the years, police reportedly checked national insurance records to see whether Mary's number had ever been used for work. Later summaries state that no employment use was found after her disappearance. That detail does not solve the case, but it does make some explanations harder. If Mary ran away and lived under her own name in Britain, there should have been some kind of employment trail. If she started a new life, she may have used another name. She may have left a country. She may have been helped by someone else, or she may never have had the chance to begin again. Theories about Mary's disappearance have remained open for decades. One theory is that Mary left voluntarily with the young man known as Tom. There are reasons people considered this. She was linked to him. There may have been talk of engagement. She kissed her family goodbye before leaving. Her family later wondered whether she had eloped, but the theory has problems. According to later family accounts, Mary had been upset with Tom the night before. She may have been angry because he had lied to her. Some accounts suggest she may have wanted to end the relationship. If that is true, leaving with him the next day becomes harder to explain. Then there is Tom himself. If he was real, why has his identity remained so unclear? Was his name remembered incorrectly? Did he use a false name? Or were the records simply too incomplete to trace him decades later? Investigators in the reopened case considered finding Tom a major priority. One officer reportedly said that finding him was the key, but Tom was never publicly confirmed. Another theory is that Mary left voluntarily, but not necessarily with Tom. The missing time away from work leaves open the possibility that Mary had another part of her life hidden from her family. She may have been meeting someone else. She may have been under pressure. She may have wanted to escape family expectations, work problems, relationship conflict, or something no one later understood. But this theory also has weaknesses. There is no confirmed evidence of a planned escape, no confirmed destination, no confirmed later contact, no confirmed new identity, no proven trail. A third theory is that Mary came to harm. This remains possible because of her age, the uncertainty around her movements, and the lack of confirmed evidence after she left home. She was a young woman traveling through London on a day when many people were distracted by the New Year's Day. If she met someone she trusted or someone dangerous, there may have been very little to lead investigators back to that moment. The fourth theory is one Mary's family held on to for years, that Mary survived, that she left for reasons she could not explain at the time, that shame, fear, or pride kept her away. Brenda later suggested Mary might have been afraid of rejection. In later years, Brenda publicly appealed to her sister, saying she loved her, missed her, and wanted contact at Mary's own pace. There has also been speculation that Mary may have been pregnant, but no confirmed evidence supports that theory. It remains only speculation, and it should be treated that way. What matters is that Mary's family never stopped wanting answers. In 2013, when Mary would have turned 70, the Metropolitan Police and Newham's Missing Persons Unit reopened the case. It was described as the oldest open missing person case on the books of the Metropolitan Police. Investigators renewed appeals for information, especially about the young man known as Tom McGinty. They also hoped publicity in Ireland might help because of the possible Irish connection and the family's roots in County Westmeath. In 2017, Missing People commissioned an age-progressed image of Mary, showing how she might have looked at 74. It was a powerful image, not because it solved anything, but because it forced people to see Mary not only as the 16-year-old girl who vanished, but as the woman she may have become, if she lived. Today, Mary Flanagan's case remains unresolved. The known facts are few. She was 16, she lived in West Ham, she left home on December 31, 1959. Her family believed she was going to work and possibly to a New Year's Eve party. Later, they learned she had not been attending work as expected. She was connected to a young man whose identity remains uncertain, and she was never confirmed alive or dead. The rest is a space filled with questions. Where did Mary go during the days she was absent from work? Did the party exist? Who exactly was Tom? Did Mary leave by choice? Did someone help her vanish, or did someone stop her from ever coming home? For the Flanagan family, the mystery was never just an old case file. It was a missing daughter, a missing sister, a person who walked out of a family home and left behind a silence that lasted a lifetime. The most haunting part of Mary's story may be how ordinary the final confirmed moments appear. A teenage girl wakes late. She gets ready. She leaves home at around 1 in the afternoon. She kisses her family goodbye, and then East London swallows the rest of the story. More than 60 decades later, the question remains the same as it was on New Year's Day 1960. What happened to Mary Flanagan after she left Wallace Road?